On Guide for Them, families, you're welcome back. Your support is our driving force for more updates and guide for you. Please comment, share, and like this video. How to move to Ghana is our topic with this interview here today. Key tips for a sustainable transition to Ghana. And what you must know, the best values for money areas for land investment in Accra, Ghana. And you may know navigating healthcare in Ghana. If you are worried about Ghana, how the system of healthcare is, you may know everything here. This website here, Kuro Africa, will guide you for everything you want to know about Ghana. What did I say? I said how to move to Ghana, key tips for a sustainable transition, and real estate review. You may know everything here. Navigating the rent system in Ghana. Navigating the rent system in Ghana before you rent a house in Ghana. Watch this video before you do anything.
Many of you reach out to me because you're looking for information when you are making the decision to move to Ghana or to other African countries. And sometimes that information is very difficult to find online because statistics aren't there, the websites might not be working. But this man has created something that fills that gap. His name is Henry Asenso, and he is the founder of Kuro Africa to help you navigate information when you make the decision to come to Ghana or other parts of Africa. Henry, I'm really excited for us to finally get a chance to talk about Kuro Africa.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know we connected a few years ago when you were kind of getting things off the ground, and now your website is up and running, you have everything going, and we'll get a chance to go deep into what it is that you do.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So first of all, I want to know where you're from.
Yeah, I'm a British-born Ghanaian. So, yeah, I'm from London, UK, but I've been in Ghana for a while. And also I went to school in Ghana for a while when I was younger.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
So that means you have schoolmates here.
No, kind of, yes. A lot of them have moved around, but I came when I was around 11 through to 13. I got the traditional, if you miss.
So if somebody goes to the website, Kuro Africa, what are they going to be looking for? Like, how are they using this tool?
Okay. So there's a couple of options that you have, right? So effectively, Kuro captures data on property for rent, for sale, and land for sale. And it has schools, infrastructure projects, general attractions, health facilities, all in one, along with population data. So if you were to say, for example, I'm coming to Ghana and I don't know what I want to do, but I've heard about this place, Osu. You can type in Osu. It will tell you minimum, maximum, median, average prices, what prices come up the most, what are comparable areas, what's the infrastructure like in the area, what's the population like in the area. And if you were to change your search and say, well, I need 2-bedroom houses in Osu, it will tell you the new sets of information and data around that specific location. You can compare locations as well. So one of the main things that kind of became glaringly obvious to me was that transparency was an issue in Africa. So there's a global transparency index, which takes into account various factors like governance of listings, government intervention, all that kind of stuff. And Ghana ranks 73rd out of 89 countries. 73rd.
73rd for transparency.
For transparency.
Wow.
So Ghana 73rd, everything below 74th and below, the classification is opaque, as in no transparency. Ghana is just one place from no transparency. And why that's important is with increased transparency, you get increased foreign direct investment. So the top transparent countries, UK, US, Australia, receive 80% of foreign direct investment globally. So transparency will give more confidence to people to come and invest. Now, us as a private company, all we're trying to do is build some transparency in. So if you go to a new development and you're looking to buy a house or whatever, you will know that, okay, typically I should be paying between these prices. And even as a developer, I speak to quite a lot of developers. when they're pricing developments, now they're like, okay, I need this to sell quicker. Okay, so if you need it to sell quicker, this is potentially the target demographic, because we've got demographic profiles and salary profiles. So we can look in a particular district and say, there are 10,000 people in the food and services industry that earn average 3,000 cities a month. If you rent at this price, this is unaffordable for them, that kind of thing. So yeah, it's just really a tool to really build transparency in, to traditionally opaque markets. So on that transparency index, out of the bottom 20 countries, 13 are African.
Wow.
13 are African. And there's another indicator by the World Bank, which is called ease of registering property. Now, ease of registering property, I think there's about 180 countries. Ghana ranks 111th. But there is one success story on the continent, which is Rwanda. And Rwanda have had a systematic approach to digitizing their land infrastructure specifically. So they went from like low, like hundreds, to third in the world in terms of ease of registering a property and land. And they did it with kind of clear political and visionary kind of impetus to do it. 5 years, 110,000 people trained to help deliver it, technology implemented, and they did it at the cheapest ever seen in history when it comes to digitizing land records. So it's beneficial, and you can see what's happened. That happened in 2005 to 2010. You can see how the perception of Rwanda has changed up until recently around investing and stuff like that into their kind of real estate and land. And actually it's a great equalizer in terms of gender equality and stuff. They now have the most female landowners that they've ever had in history because of transparency being in place. So we're just trying to play our role, not on that level. It took $66 million for them to do that.
Right.
I have none of that. But what we're just trying to do is actually enable the market to have more transparency to attract more investment.
Okay. And so once somebody looks through the site to get information and data, how can they be assured that it's like accurate information? Because we're talking about transparency. Where are you getting information from, and how can they be assured that it's accurate information?
So we leverage publicly available data that's out there already, but we go through a strenuous process of data cleanse because, as you say, there is so much kind of nuance of variation in the quality of information that's out there. So what we do is we have an automated process that looks at, I don't want to get too technical, but basically looks at every piece of information that we collect and checks against, we have 4,000 unique towns in Kuro, and checks that, okay, you might have put Ghana flag as a location, but that means it's Oyarifa. Or you might have put, I don't know, a landmark rather than an actual town.
Right.
So we have an automated process to say, okay, these landmark names mean this town. Okay. And those kind of things. So that's one process. And then we have a manual process that takes over after that, where the team actually goes through all the data that we collect every month to refine it and make sure it's correctly allocated. Sometimes, something might be put up as for rent for $250,000 a month. Obviously that's supposed to be for sale and not for rent. So we go through all of that to try and get as high quality data as possible and refine it as much as possible. So that is the biggest part of our job at Kuro is cleaning the information.
Yeah. And so this could be used for all kinds of services, like looking for a school, looking for, different types of businesses. Have you done any collaborative efforts with some of the local businesses with this, or it's completely a neutral, just searching for information?
Yeah, so it's more neutral. So for example, with schools, what we've done is we've leveraged Google reviews and said, okay, we have these schools in our database. Let's go and check what they are saying in terms of Google reviews. In terms of partnerships, I'd like to do a lot more of them, but our ethos is transparency first. So if you're a developer and you wanted to list on our platform, our users will still see that this is how far you are above or below the average price. We're not going to change that. We're not going to make yours look like it's fantastic and be all and end all. We're going to show it as it is against the rest of the market. Now, the nuance with Ghana is that there is so much variation in types of property and quality and all those things. So you have to pay a premium for premium amenities and those kind of things. But that doesn't mean that, you know, for example, you've got a 3-bedroom house for sale in a Yarafa and somebody wants, or a new developer might want $250,000 for it. But it'd also be good if you knew that you could buy a 3-bedroom house in a Yarafa for 120, right? If you've got the information, then I think that's what people need to come and invest with confidence, as opposed to easily being led astray due to the lack of valuable information made available to them.
And so how do people access it? Is this like a free domain they can just go to and just type things in?
I've spent a lot of money, Ivy, so it can't be free. I've invested heavily in this and in people, but there is a free trial.
Yeah.
So typically, you know, you either get B2B business or B2C, right? We're kind of B to both, right? For our B2C customers, we have kind of lower tiers and lower expense tiers, but there's a free trial. So let's say you just wanted to see, okay, let me understand about this area, what I should be paying. You could use that for the 7 days and not pay a fee. If you go on beyond that, then there's a monthly subscription. You cancel it anytime. That's the best we could do. So yeah, that's the options. And depending on what tier you access, you get different levels of data. So our basic tier will just give you city prices, the pricing in general. You still have the ability to search for specific things. And you'll get the price overview, which shows you what's the most occurring price. But what you won't get is infrastructure information, trend information. You won't get a currency converter. You won't get our AI or our market analysis, which is typically targeted towards businesses rather than individual. But every tier has a free trial, so everybody can try it for free.
Okay. I mean, I'm not surprised because there are a lot of platforms that are charging for data information, you know, whether it's marketing reviews, you know, urban planning. Like there's so many different companies I see doing this type of stuff, but not for the continent of Africa necessarily. So I'm not surprised. So how many tiers is there? 3?
Yes, there's 3. So there's a basic tier, there's a pro tier, and then there's an elite tier. And the basic tier just has the real estate information in cities. The pro tier has the real estate information, and you have a inbuilt currency converter, so you can switch between pound, euro, city, and dollar. And then that's when you start getting the trend information, infrastructure. And then the elite tier is where we have our AI chatbot, and we also have market analysis. So that's where we start to combine the population data with the salary data with the real estate data. So when you're pricing a project, you can see what groups could potentially afford it and how many of them are in each area and stuff like that.
How has the response been?
It's been good. Overwhelmingly, everybody is problem aware and everybody is saying, yeah, we need something like this. The balance that has to be struck is that some people profit from the ambiguity. So actually, some are like, yes, I need this, I need it, but I don't want anyone else to know about it. You know? So overall, the balance from a B2C perspective has really been highly positive. I mean, it's positive in general, but I think what I'm reading between the lines is that, you know what, actually, there are a few that benefit from the lack of transparency. So they may not necessarily see the bigger vision of actually everybody wins with increased transparency. But I think over time, especially with the conversations I'm having, I get approached a lot by different people, tech enthusiasts, real estate enthusiasts, real estate developers, and they're all saying the same thing of like, it's about time we get transparent now, because it's not benefiting us much longer being kind of having that lack of transparency.
Yeah.
Because what's happening is, you see how many apartments are going up in Accra.
So many.
It's wild. I can't get my head around it. But if you're all going for the same diaspora pool, because if you look at local salaries, nobody can afford those. If you're going for the same outside kind of buyers, they are used to a certain standard of information before making an investment choice, because they have access to other investment vehicles that sit outside. So they don't have to buy a 120K studio in Accra. They could take that 120K and leave it in the S&P and get 7% a year and not think a thing and not lift a finger, right? So the transparency is only going to help them make a more informed decision, because there's only so many emotional decisions that are going to be made on investing your hard-earned cash. But yeah, we're really excited about it. It's part of a lifelong dream to do business in Africa, and it's a business that is kind of like really my baby. Came just before